It's the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sameti. The YouTube guys. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We are joined today by a very special guest, Ben, Rokan Fiction. How are you doing, Ben? By the way, you're muted. Hello? There you are. How's it going, Ben? Are we having technical difficulties? Hello, hello. Excuse me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, there you are.
I seem to be having some problems with my Ethernet cable here. Should be straightened out now.
Oh, cool. All right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I whenever possible, I go with Ethernet because it's a more stable connection than wireless. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thanks, Simon. It's nice to be here.
Pleasure to have you. So we were trying to get coordinate to have your artist on as well, but couldn't make it. But that's fine. We got you. My goodness. All right. So, as is customary on this channel, I like to delve into some of the background of the creators. And I love to hear what your quote unquote origin story is. For example, how were you raised? What was your childhood like? What were you into? Like, be it comic books, cartoons, movies, action figures, and toys. And what were the key milestones throughout your life that led you down this road that eventually took you to creating your own crowdfunded books?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's see. My childhood, I was raised on like big two comic books. I read a lot of Spider-Man and Batman mostly, and then Wolverine after that. So like the idea of the hero's journey and the misunderstood savior and all these tropes that are so common in superhero comic books. This was really seminal for me growing up. Then as I got older, I started reading a lot more, and I read the obvious things. I read The Lord of the Rings. I read, Michael Moorcock, The Eternal Champion. I read some Robert E. Howard. And so I've always been really interested in these two different kinds of heroes that I would notice. And if you look at The Lord of the Rings, you can see the most clear examples. In The Lord of the Rings, you have, well, actually not even two, but three protagonists. You have Gandalf can be seen as a protagonist, although mostly not. Mostly he's like a supporting character, but certainly Frodo and certainly Aragorn are protagonists. And I really liked the idea of Frodo being physically ill because as a result of carrying this ring of power.
Yeah,
I found it fascinating. Yeah, I found it fascinating that a hero in this kind of setting where there were monsters and goblins and everyone fighting with swords would be going through more of an introspective and philosophical battle than a physical one. And I really identified with that because I had a sort of a rare chronic illness when I was younger, and I had really intense food sensitivities and like lowered immune system. So I would get sick all the time. I
Oh
would
man.
like if the kids, like if the kids are outside playing and it starts raining and they get caught in the rain, chances are if only one of them catches a cold, that would be me. So
Right.
I was really frustrated as a kid dealing with the the reality that I was just more susceptible to illness than my peers were, and this was annoying because I felt internally that I was very strong mentally and very capable of doing things, and and then I saw an anime. I don't watch a lot of anime, but I saw one anime that really resonated with me on Toonami. Kids that grew up on Toonami, we had a sort of limited access to anime before. It wasn't before the internet per se, but it was before the internet is what it is today. So I just watched what was on the Cartoon Network. And so there was an anime called Yu Yu Hakusho, which maybe some of your viewers will be
Oh
familiar with.
yeah.
And I remember, yeah. So the protagonist was this like demon hunter, spirit detective kind of thing, and he was fighting in this tournament. And I recall like when it came down to finally the showdown, the culmination of the season against his adversary, Toguro, the younger. What was it? He had these wristbands, these invisible weights. It was revealed that he had been carrying during the entire tournament to make him stronger. So while he was fighting all of these other, quite formidable challenges, he was deliberately weighing himself down in order to make up for lost time to become stronger. And then when he finally was going to face the final bad guy of the show, he took those weights off and then was a lot faster and able to move more quickly. And so we tried a lot of alternative methods to deal with the illness that I had. And at some point, like around 14 or 15 years old, whatever things we were doing, some of them, or at least one of them, started to actually work, and I was able to eat pretty much whatever I wanted, and I still can, and exercise and exert myself to my full capacity without getting sick as a result, and I still can. So that really resonated for me because I felt like I had done the same thing. So that's all of these components have been massive inspirations for me to write Rokan, because the first arc of Rokan revolves around acquiring and retrieving and losing and obtaining once again this magical sword that gives Rokan some of his powers. So the sword has this ability to produce and manipulate flame constructs when the sword has the flame on the blade. And when the blade is naked without the flame, it's a curved sword, a flameberg. So these are actually from history. Why those swords were shaped with a curve was so that if you were cut by the sword, the wound is a weird shape and it's impossible to stitch. So you're more likely to get an infection and die just from a wound.
Oh my! All right.
So what happens? Yeah. So what happens in the book is that Rokan is cut with the sword, and he has to deal with. Basically, he learns how to fight, and then in a frustrating twist of fate, he gets this wound, and he has no way of healing the wound, and it keeps bleeding, and he has to be really careful about it. So this restrains him, and as a result, he's not able to fight to his full capacity. And this is obviously inspired by my experience, my real life experience, and I've used it as a narrative mechanic to force Rokan to think outside the box when he confronts enemies and when he confronts dangers. So he's a very good fighter and he's really tough badass, but because of this wound, he can't exert himself too much or he'll bleed to death. So even though he knows he could kick anyone's ass, he has to think of other ways to solve problems, and so he has to kind of blend his fighting ability together with other skills like rhetorical skills and negotiation and diplomacy. So that's the reason why the sigil for Rokan is the yin yang, because Rokan is the union of these two concepts of being the perfect warrior, but also being the wizard, / philosopher.
Nice. Go real quick. Welcome, Unhinged Entertainment. Thanks, Jason, for hanging with us. Rokan looks great, and I plan on backing soon.
Thanks a lot, Unhinged. I appreciate that.
I liked and shared as well. Hey, WyzGyz and Rokan.
Hey.
Yeah, it really does look good. I wanted to rewind a little. Excuse me. Sorry. So,
okay.
We were talking about, like, I guess you might say allergies to foods and stuff like that. I've heard
not
that.
technically. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if they were allergies to food, it doesn't. I'm sure it doesn't work on everyone, but sometimes if you take foods that upset your stomach or that you can't handle in small doses initially, and then gradually build up over time, increasing the amount, then you kind of counter the quote-unquote allergy,
Yes, that actually is what I did do, and it did work.
Do you also end up going through those tests at the doctors where you test for actual allergies, where they prick you with all kinds of needles to see what your...
I haven't needed to do that in a long time. My understand. See, when all this was happening, I was pretty young, so I wasn't totally aware of it, and my mom just kind of took care of it for me. But my understanding is that what I had weren't allergies per se, but just sensitivities to certain foods.
Gotcha. Jason asks, how long did the story take to develop?
I've been working on the story for a long time. I've been meaning to write it, but I always was busy finishing my bachelor's degree and then immediately afterwards my master's degree. And so I have been developing the story, playing with it, retooling it, reorganizing it, writing outlines, changing the outlines. Been doing that for a few years. And then when I finally finished my master's degree is when I actually started devoting time specifically to writing it and putting pen to paper. So that was in January of 2019 that I actually began to write Rokan the novel. And I've gotten very far with that. It's not quite ready to show people because I keep changing my mind about things and editing it. But I decided... So to answer your question, I've been working on the story for some years, and only recently decided to adapt it as a comic book instead.
Oh, all right. You may know already that there are some creators who have gone the novel route, particularly WyzGyz. I don't know if you've ever backed the project Sunsworn. His first venture was a full-blown novel. Pretty thick, too.
I know. I follow WyzGyz. I had no idea that it was a novel. That's cool. I'll have to ask him about that.
Yeah. His next project that's funding now is the next story on Sunsworn, but it's a graphic novel this time around. The first one was a regular traditional novel with a visual companion. This one is a graphic novel, and then the one after this is going to be another full-on novel. So he's going to kind of alternate, but continue telling Sunstorm stories. So it's pretty neat.
I should talk to him. I should talk to him. He could probably give me a lot of pointers about doing both.
For sure. As we mentioned briefly at the beginning, your artist wasn't able to make it today. Hopefully, in a future visit, you both can be on.
Well, I've been texting him. It's likely that he'll come on in a minute here. I think he just forgot.
Okay. Jason says the art and story concept are a great pairing for Rokan. Yeah. I like how it originated. It's pretty sweet. It connects with you. It kind of is based on your own personal experiences, and you've developed it into a story. Since you're the creator and author, did you happen to take any formal classes any formal courses to study story writing, the art of storytelling?
Well,
novelizations. Is that what you went to school for, to get your bachelor's and master's?
I got my master's degree is in literature, so probably that's helped me more than I realized. I'm inclined to think that getting the master's degree was a waste of time, but I guess that's easy to say when you have one. So it's hard to know how much I mean, I'm inclined to think that just reading a lot and writing a lot is what makes me a good writer. But who knows? It might be my degrees also.
What is your writing style like? Do you like take a trip and seclude yourself in a cabin in the woods and dedicate to spending like an entire weekend indoors until you get as much work as you can done? Or do you work on it casually as free time presents itself? Or do you like literally come up with an idea in the middle of the day and then quickly jot it down?
I have seasons. I is the only way to really think of it. So I have seasons where I organize macro ideas, and then I have seasons where I actually sit down for a scheduled time every day to advance. And so during my organization seasons, I smoke a lot of weed, and I try to have as many real life experiences with friends and family as I can. And I just have a notebook on me at all times, and I'm always thinking about the story and figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and jotting down everything. And then once I have an outline figured out of what the next portion of the book should be, we could say, then I have to get into a very disciplined regimen of setting apart specific amounts of time every day during which I only permit myself to write and without any distractions. And I keep track of the word count that I advance so that it actually gets done. So that's the only way I've found that works.
Yeah, you sound.
I tried. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried just casually advancing and organizing at the same time, and it just doesn't work for me. If I end up, it's a matter of diminishing returns, because if I just sit down and try to come up with an idea and write it, and write as I come up with the idea, I end up changing so many things that it's just not economical as far as the time and effort, because everything that I write, I'll end up destroying and redoing almost entirely. So the only way that works for me is to spend days and weeks or even months, where I just organize ideas and go over them again and again to make sure I really like them and to make sure I'm really pleased with the way an arc will pan out, and satisfied with the way it ends up. And then once I am satisfied, then I take it almost like passing it along in a conveyor belt to the next team. But the next team is also me, and that's when I actually do the legwork of putting sentences down in paragraphs one at a time to advance.
All right. Jason says, "Lol, I have a bachelor's in illustration, and it's meaningless and worth less
Yeah.
than toilet paper."
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you.
I only went as far as an AS degree, but I still have a certain level of respect for anyone who pursues higher education and, dedicates all that time into getting that next piece of paper.
It's a lot of time.
Oh yeah,
It's a lot of time. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, I'm often bouncing back and forth on whether to even pursue a bachelor's at this point, since I've been so far away from education. It's one of those things where after I got the AS degree, all I wanted to do was just go straight into the workforce. But I try to prepare myself.
The only reason that the reason I have the degrees I have is because I used to be a teacher. I guess I still am. I just don't care so much about that anymore. And so when you're a teacher, you get paid according to the level of degree that you have. So just by virtue of having a master's degree, you get a higher salary. So that was honestly the only reason I bothered. And ironically, as soon as I finished the master's is also when I quit my job because I wanted more time to write. So it didn't do me any good as far as improving my salary.
Oh my. Is there without doxing yourself, do you have what some would refer to as a regular 9-to-5 job that you do outside of your writing?
I don't. I teach online. But my hours are flexible and minimal.
Okay. Is it one of those online teaching where is like a result of the whole COVID thing?
Well, ironically, I had the very clever idea of moving to a country where my dollars will go further and working far fewer hours and teaching online. And I had this idea long before COVID was a thing. And now everyone's copying me and working online, teaching online also. And I was doing it before it was cool. So
wow, you're a trailblazer. Jason says, "I gotta leave for work. Have a great stream." Thanks, Jason, for hanging with us. You have a great one.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll catch you later.
So, for any of you who have not, Rokan is. Oh wait, no. Oh, I didn't update that one. It's. Let me update this while I'm thinking of it. It's actually, excuse me, 79% funded. Let's make it happen and get this thing fully funded. Yeah, there we go.
Awesome.
I like it. Yeah, so back at one.
Yeah, we're getting close, but we're also running out of time.
That's for sure. That's for sure. That's why we gotta pump it up. Let's get some more eyeballs on this. Back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady. And if you don't have the means to back it right now, consider sharing it all over your social media so we can get more eyes on it.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Yes, that's the best way to help. Thanks so much.
Let me see. Um, so this started as being a novel, but then you eventually decided to convert it to a graphic novel. Was it a challenge? Did you find it challenging to make the transition, or was it relatively easy?
It was a challenge because, well, I mean, the obvious challenge was the fact that the word count for a novel is obviously far greater for even the most verbose graphic novel. So I had to really figure out how to be conservative with the words on each page to get the idea across and to tell the story in an engaging way where the reader still feels immersed in the world that I've created, but at the same time without destroying the experience of reading a comic book, which is much different from the experience of reading a novel. So yes, that was more challenging than I expected, but it's been a very enjoyable process for us. I've really been enjoying getting better at it, and I found that writing comic books is a lot more fun, honestly, because when you outline a page and determine what goes on each panel, you can kind of figure out creative ways to tell the story visually without saying as much. Because like my first draft, I would say what each panel was supposed to be, and then I would notice that the captions accompanying them and even the dialogue was somewhat redundant. So I realized that a lot of the storytelling is done by the images themselves, and then the words that you use are just what you choose to make it sound the right way and to make sure that nothing's misunderstood. So that's really been a lot of fun to get the hang of. So it took longer than expected, but it's been so fulfilling and so enjoyable that I haven't minded. And I found the perfect artist for the story, and I wouldn't be doing it as a graphic novel or as a comic book if I hadn't found the right person to work with. I mean, if the only artists that had been interested in the project had not appealed to me as much as Max does, I don't think I would have gone forward with the adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I find fascinating, I mean, I enjoy novels, but I don't take near enough time to dedicate myself to sitting down and reading them like I used to when I was younger, and it was kind of expected. But one of the beautiful things about novels is, you know, you're relying a lot on your imagination, and you have some, I mean, the author will paint you a picture through words, and you'll get the sense of what they're going for, but a part of you is still imagining or interpreting what they are writing. And there's something pretty exciting and even magical about that. And then with graphic novels and comics, it's very, very much a visual medium. So I love them as well because of that very fact that it's so visual, and I tend to be more visual than the other. And a lot of the storytelling is actually carried by the artwork, as you were mentioning. And so I would expect it to be a bit of a challenge if you spend all this time focusing on producing a novel and then making the switch over to graphic novel, comic book, because there's, I guess, a learning curve, if you will.
Yeah, there definitely was. But that's fun though. I like to learn by doing. You know, that's always how I became a good teacher. Like when I was when I was a full-time teacher, I was always notorious for not planning my classes, and I would get in trouble for it sometimes. And so I would always turn in lesson plans and do whatever was required of me, but I wouldn't follow them. And it wasn't that I didn't want to follow them. It's just that for some reason, no matter how much I would think about a class and attempt to anticipate the best way to teach a class, to plan it out ahead of time, whatever would occur to me in the moment, standing in front of the whiteboard, was always better than any plan that I made. So I never followed my lesson plans, but it wasn't for lack of trying. It's just there's something about being in the moment, being in the zone, where it's just different. The creative process is different. So the process of learning how to write a comic book has been tremendous fun for me.
So, as you're, do you actually teach literature and are helping bring about the next generation of authors?
Well, they were young, my students, but I did teach them literature. So I worked at a classical school where I had 3rd through 5th grade all together in the same classroom. So I mean, I would teach them how to read fables, and I would teach them how to understand and write their own poems. So yeah, they're awfully young to know if any of them would be interested in becoming writers when they're older. But I hope so. I hope at least one.
That sounds like a fun class to be taking in 3rd through 5th grades.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about classical education, is that it doesn't really follow the curriculum as far as what most public schools consider important, or the right ways to teach things. So yeah, I had sort of carte blanche in a lot of areas as long as I could justify what I wanted to do. So
nice.
I thought it would be really important for them to learn how to sing Christmas carols. So I would make that a part of the literature class during Christmas time. And I thought it was really important for them not only to be able to read, but literacy means interpreting text also. So I would show them, like, Aesop's fables, but not just. But I would take them behind the curtain too. Like, I wouldn't just be like, right, this is a story that teaches a moral, and who can tell me the moral? Well, that's easy. But I would show them the rhetorical tricks that writers use to set things up, to create anticipation, or to belie expectations. I would show them how the sausage was made, and then I would have them write their own fables using the same rhetorical methods, and you'd be surprised what kids can come up with. As long once they know how something works, they can do pretty incredible things.
Nice. That's pretty sweet. Let's see here. Now, how did you come about finding your artists? Was it like earlier in the process where once you decided, all right, I'm going to take this novel and convert it into a graphic novel / comic book, I'd better find myself an artist. Was it around that stage you started looking, and how did you go about eventually finding the artist that would work best for your project?
I got more and more interested in Comicsgate as a reader and a spectator, because I was aware of Ethan Van Sciver, obviously, and Richard Meyer, but then from watching from reading their books, I ended up being aware of them as a presence on YouTube, and in EVS's case on Twitter also. And so I started following and paying attention, and I noticed that a lot of other people besides them were also writing comic books, crowdfunding them. And I understood what the situation was in the world that I live in, that anyone can make a comic book as long as they do a good job. There's an audience through crowdfunding. So that inspired me to be a part of that. And I realized, hey, I've got an awesome story. I could be a part of Comicsgate. This story could be a comic book. Why not? And that was when I started looking for an artist. I had no idea how to find an artist. So what I did was I created an Instagram account, and I just told Instagram to show me. I guess you can follow people, but you can also follow hashtags. I just started following the hashtag Comicsgate on Instagram, and prayed that, and I mean that literally, I prayed that I would find someone that was looking for a book to draw, that wanted to do sequential art, and that's exactly what happened. I stumbled on Max Headroom's Instagram account by following Comicsgate hashtag, and started chatting him up and talking to him, and I told him about my book idea, and he wasn't convinced at first, because who am I? I haven't. You Google my name, it doesn't show you that I'm a writer or anything. So he thought I was just some dumb kid who didn't was more all talk and no substance. And then I got him to at least look at an excerpt from the novel, and then everything changed. He read that, and he was blown away and convinced and won over. So 2 days after I sent him the email as a last ditch, and I was like, well, it seems like he's not really interested in this project or taking me seriously, and that's okay. Why would he? I'll just have to find a way to make my name first, and then I'll get a good artist, was what I was thinking. And then 2 days later, he emailed me back, and he said, wow, this story's awesome. When can I start drawing it? I love it. And that's it. And we're a perfect team, to be honest.
Sweet. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, as I always like to say, it's a really special thing when an author and a storyteller and an artist can get together and really connect and be on the same page with the project. And I imagine that once you form that pairing, form your creative team, then it's hard to imagine yourself working with anyone else. What is your guys'?
I can't imagine working with anyone else. Sorry?
What is the style of how you guys communicate and get the story across? Let's see.
That took us a long time to get a good system. What we do now is that I have this notebook that I bought that's erasable, an erasable scannable notebook, because I tried using different programs to make outlines digitally, and I just couldn't. I just wasn't good at using them, or they didn't look the way I wanted. So and then I tried drawing outlines by hand, and that worked okay. But then when you scan them, they're kind of ugly. So I found this great alternative, which is this erasable paper. I don't know how to explain it if nobody knows what I'm talking about, but you can write on it with a special gel pen. Yeah, you can write on it with a gel pen, and then it has a friction eraser, so the heat actually erases it. So it's like a gloss. It's like a thick gloss paper.
All right.
but it feels like paper when you write on it. I'll show you in a second if you want. Give me 1 second.
I wonder. I'm kind of picturing those things that they make for kids, where it's like you got a flat surface. It's kind of bulky plastic, but you got this kind of plastic.
So yeah, I'll show it to you. So what I do is I write on here. So these are the outlines that I make, and I scan them. I scan them and I send them to him because it's not made of paper. It's made of other kind of somewhere between plastic and paper. So it's a lot whiter, a lot clearer. So when you take a picture of it or scan it, it comes out a lot cleaner than a piece of paper would on a digital version. So
Oh, that's interesting.
so yeah, so here it says Robert E. Howard, and then if I just take this friction, I can just erase it. But the eraser never runs out because it's not using up anything. It's just creating friction, and the friction creates heat, and it's actually erased, so it doesn't say Robert E. Howard anymore. So it's erased by heat.
Wow, that's a trip. So is that anything like? Well, I mean, it looks much like graphics tablet stylus. That's pretty cool. What do people usually use this for?
What do people usually use them for? That's a good question. It's called a Rocket Book. So if you Google Rocket Book, maybe you can find out what normal people use them for. But I use them for scanning my outlines page by page, so I can send them to Max, who lives in England on the other side of the world. And so what I do is I send him. I write the script page by page, panel by panel, and then I outline by hand what I want each page to look like. And so he gets both. So he has a Microsoft Word file with the script, the page by page script, and then every page of that script corresponds to a scanned page from this erasable notebook. And that shows him what I want, how I want the story to flow in sequence from page to page. And then he gives suggestions and recommendations, which 9 times out of 10 I follow because he really knows what he's doing. And after that, he draws the page.
Huh. So
what you were saying before about how you, sorry, go ahead.
Well, number one, how does using that to scan the image and send it to them differ from just having a regular tablet, a notebook, writing down your outline and then scanning it and sending it? I mean, do you enjoy the ability to edit on the fly? Is that what you're going?
I'm sure I could do the same thing. I'm sure I could do the same thing on a tablet, but I'm kind of old school. I'm just not good with technology. So I enjoy the feel of a notebook, even if it's not actually paper. There's just something about it. I'm just that way. I have vinyl records that I like to listen to music that way instead of digitally. I'm just funny that way.
Yeah, I still like LPs. I mean, overall, I prefer CDs because they're smaller, but I still enjoy an LP.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at or trying to understand is, what do you gain from using this special tablet that is erasable through heat over a traditional pen and lined notebook?
Oh, I see. So for whatever material this thing is made out of, it's a lot glossier and brighter than a piece of paper, and so that
Oh.
gives me the advantage that when I scan it, the scanned image is a lot cleaner and easier
Oh, all right.
to interpret.
Gotcha. And when you're sending the outlines to your artist, are you doing it like in big batches? Since it started out as a novel, do you literally have like several chapters already sent to him and he's working on them all? Or do you do a chapter at a time or a few pages at a time?
I have story enough to go for many issues to come. However, we're focused on the first issue to get it right. So, I mean, I know what happens next, and he knows what happens next, and
Yeah.
to a lesser extent because I've talked to him and told him the whole grand thing, the whole grand scheme of things. But it's tempting for me to just go ahead and while I'm waiting for him to catch up with the art, to write the issue 2 script and write the issue 3 script and write the issue 4 script. But I'm not doing that because I want to be really proactive and involved with him all the way through, so that because this is the first issue that we're working on together, the first comic book I've ever made. So I'm very, what's the word? I'm being very fastidious about being involved in the process as much as possible, so that the first issue is as close to perfect as we can make it.
Nice. So you're the creator and author. You've got an artist. So is your artist also the letterer? And I presume your artist is doing pencil, inks, colors.
Yeah, that was something that he had to convince me of, to let him do the colors, because I really wanted someone else to do the colors so that we could get it done. I'm doing the letters. That's been another learning curve for me to that was also more difficult than I expected, but also more fun than I expected. So that makes it worth it. So I've been learning how to letter, and I'm getting a little bit better at it all the time. And so I think I'm pretty close to showing some finished letters that I'm really happy with. The thing is, I know that the correct thing is to be bad at something at first and then get better at it. But I don't know if it's my ego or what. But I don't want to show anyone the lettered page until we both agree that it's perfect. So that's just the way I'm doing it. But I'm close. I'm close to having some lettered pages that I will be willing to show. I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, so I'm doing the letters. He's doing the colors as well. So Max is doing all of the art, which is extraordinary. And I didn't want him to do the colors at first, because I thought, and probably correctly so, that if I hired a separate colorer, we'd get them done a lot faster. But he convinced me, because he has this hybrid style of digital and traditional art, where he does pencils by hand and does a combination of traditional and digital ink to get to refine it, but does the digital ink, he paints, because he hand paints all the colors on every page with acrylics and then touch them up. So he explained to me that his process wouldn't look right if he let someone else do it, because he has a very unique way of of combining the acrylic paints with the digital that that nobody else would get right. So for that reason, he's doing all the art himself by his own insistence, and that's fine with me because it's spectacular.
Yeah, I can imagine him being a hybrid artist, that it would be difficult for someone to understand what you're going for. So that does make sense that he'd want to be responsible for both. Welcome, Chris Oak Art. Good day, all. Good to have you. Good to have you. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That was going to be one of my other questions, if it's traditional or digital. But you just explained how he does a hybrid of the two, which is cool.
Yeah. It is cool. I still don't understand it exactly. He's explained it to me so many times that I'm embarrassed to ask again, but he knows what he's doing. So I let him do it.
And do you have an editor or two to just double check for continuity and spelling errors and grammar and things like that? Or are you the all-in-one kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm the editor too. So I have three hats that I wear and three totally different tasks that I do that well, more than three really, because writing the writing the novel itself is two different activities. As I mentioned before, the way I do it is the planning phase and then the advancing words phase, as I think of it, and then adapting it to the comic book. That's the script phase, and then the outline phase, and then the editing phase. So when I have my editor's hat on, I don't know. I'm in a different frame of mind. I am sober for one thing, and so I just notice my mistakes. Whereas when I'm writing, I don't notice them, as far as spelling and things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Excuse me. Part of it is needing to be able to step away from your work momentarily. Like some
That's
people have suggested that whenever you possibly can, try and have 2 or 3 editors looking over your work, so you get different sets of eyeballs, and maybe even not necessarily close people but people who are like newbies to graphic novels and books, who may not necessarily be all into it, but would be down for a good read, and just basically someone who could objectively check for and words and stuff. But if you don't have those additional people, and you're doing you yourself are doing it, then at least take a moment out of your schedule.
Have someone read. Yeah, it's always a good idea to have someone else read it and just make sure that it makes sense and that it is being understood the way you meant it. So I mean, that's true. That's necessary. I know from experience. I used to write for websites, just writing essays and things like that. But I know from experience that someone else reading them, when someone else reads your work, they can tell you if you succeeded as far as expressing the idea that you meant to. And a lot of more times than we care to admit as writers that doesn't happen. So you're right. It is necessary to have at least another set of eyes. But
I mean, yeah, I mean, even if it's a family member, a loved one. But if you don't happen to have another person to double check you, I mean, well, some people's teams have the artist double checking for that kind of stuff and acting as a second editor, if you will. But if you yourself are the primary and sole editor, then one of the tricks some people use is, they'll work on the project for a certain amount of time, then they'll like literally take a couple weeks off where they're not looking at the story at all, not reading it at all. And then they come back after, say, 2 weeks, if you can afford to, a month, and then look on it with fresh eyes and then see if you notice anything when you read through your own work. And just having that break of time where you're not nose into your project can be enlightening.
You're right. And that's excellent advice. And the cool thing about the comic book process is that while Max catches up with the art, that gives me time to go over writing and make sure, like you said, with fresh eyes, that everything sounds the way I want it to. And also, like, for future issues, this period of time as I wait for the art to be completed, it also gives me time to step away from it, like you said, and then come back with fresh eyes to look at the future issues. I told you already, I'm not going to write the script for issue 2 until first issue is done. Yep. Edited, printed, in hand, perfect. I think that's wise, but it does give me plenty of time to edit the novel, which I've been doing, and update it and alter it and advance it.
Out of curiosity, have you run into any moments through the process where you've written like an entire chapter and then you look at it later and go, holy cow, what was I thinking? And then you kind of scrap it or set it to the side in case it becomes useful later on. And then you literally rewrite an entire chapter's worth? Yes.
that precise thing has happened and happens to me a lot. Most of the book has been written almost entirely from scratch anew at least once. So I don't know if that's just because it's my first novel, or if that's just something about my personality, or if that's typical. It's been a grueling and painstaking process because I'm so particular about how I want things to sound. And I'll have an idea. I figured this out about the seasons, too late, because most of the first half of the novel I've had to completely rework because ideas occur to me after the fact that I like more, and so that's why I really force myself not to write any of my ideas until I get the whole picture straight, so I don't have to go and redo too much.
That could be challenging and risky, though. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people do this nowadays, but sometimes when it comes to writing, it's like they'll write as often as they can, and even if nothing pertaining to the story comes to mind, they'll just write down random thoughts, even like a continuous run-on sentence, until something comes up that leads them in the direction of writing about the story they're working on again. And it's
I've heard of that.
Exercises.
It doesn't work for me. It doesn't.
Okay.
That hasn't worked for me at all. Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite of that. I'll just I'll be like on a date with my girlfriend and completely with my head in the clouds and figuring out some detail, some plot point that doesn't make sense, some inconsistency that I need to fix, and she'll be talking to me about something and I don't know what it is, and then she'll yell at me, "Hey, I'm talking to you," and I'll have to try and guess what she was telling me about, and then I'll go home later, and when she's asleep, I'll go in the other room and stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning and write what I was thinking about. So the free flow writing doesn't work for me. No way, no how. I have to have I have to think about it in the back of my head. Going for a walk by myself is the best way.
Oh wow,
I have to
cool.
think about it until I'm clear, until I know what it needs to be, and then I write it down.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm not sure if I could follow your technique, your method, because I feel like if I'm constantly in my head on it, I'm never going to put it down to paper. So I'm like the opposite, I guess, of you. And I don't know if the free form writing will help, but when I did that exercise a few times, it did seem to be helpful. Not only in terms of writing in general, but also like if you're there, we used to do that same exercise, but on typewriters in typing class, where you just type whatever's on your mind, and it turns into this big old long couple paragraphs. But you're expected to just continuously type until the timer runs out. So I found that quite interesting. And
well, yeah, I mean the way I write, I know is highly unorthodox and not recommended, but I don't know, man. I'm not going to say that it works for me because, like I said, this is my first novel, so who knows? If I go on to write, be prolific at novel writing, it's entirely possible that I'll end up adhering to the prescribed methods, But for now, this is the way I do it. But I'm open to trying. I'm open to trying that technique. Why not? I've got nothing to lose, and it might make me faster at writing.
Well, I'm just kind of like throwing out ideas on things that I learned about over the years. But I don't consider myself really much of a writer. It's something I think I'm weaker at than. I think I'm better at drawing than I am at writing and storytelling. But it's something that I have to work on. But speaking of things like, oh shoot, where was I going with this? Oh, having additional sets of eyes looking at your work, proofreading. I took poetry classes in college, and I found those quite interesting, and they were fun. And we would write basically we'd get an assignment, we'd write a poem based on the assignments guidelines, and then we discuss it in the following class, right? And what we'd end up doing is we form a circle of desks, and then we'd hand our poem, our drafted poem to the person to our right, and then we would read another poet's writing and think about and discuss what might improve it, what they might do to enhance the poem and make it more effective. And then we'd rotate again for a few more poets so that we can experience multiple styles of poetry and poems coming from different people from different backgrounds. And I found that real fascinating. And it was at the same time we were proofreading each other. And ultimately, it resulted in us polishing up our own poems, and having ideally a better product in the end.
That sounds really, really cool. What a creative way to help people break through writer's block or perfect a piece. That
Yeah,
seems like a really good technique, especially for poems.
yeah, I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. Um, let's see here. So you've got Rokan, your very first campaign, and as you mentioned, you learned about Comicsgate and was excited. You were excited about the potential of crowdfunding your own book. I remember feeling similarly when I first got into Comicsgate, and until then, I was thinking, man, the way to get into the industry, I was back to the old way of thinking, where you thought you had to like build a portfolio, show it off to the big two, and hope they'll see you and notice you, and hope you get some good feedback from them on where you can improve. And then one of these days, maybe you'll get lucky and catch a break and get a job with them. But then, when Comicsgate came about, it was like, I don't know if it was for you as well, but it was almost mind blowing to me that I knew indie comics was a thing out there, but I never knew how much of an impact it could be, and how freeing it could be, to not have to rely on the big two.
Yeah, I mean, I knew there was such a thing as indie comics, but I still thought, until fairly recently, I still thought that those were publishers with editors that would gatekeep and look at all of your social media and history and things like that. I didn't realize until Comicsgate is what made me realize that anyone can make a comic book as long as they make it. You can find an audience for it with crowdfunding. I didn't know that was an option. It's amazing. And the thing I love most about it is that it's meritocracy. You get customers by making a quality product, and by being reliable and trustworthy, you keep them. So that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the natural order of things, and I love it because I think that with this freedom, uh, my partnership with Max, we're going to be very successful because I think we have the top notch quality book to offer, and I don't have to convince any stiff necked suit that that's the case. I just have to make a good book, and comic book readers will love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is a community where you can find an audience for your work. And it's pretty amazing and phenomenal because there are so many people who are literally passionate about helping others, and they want to see people succeed and, in effect, fulfill their dreams, to create a piece of work that they've been working on for potentially years. Let's check out this promo trailer for Rokan.
Let's do it.
Whoa, that's cool.
In collaboration with Tier 1 Comics, an all-new creative team, brings the epic fantasy adventure of Rokan to life, combining high fantasy and heavy metal artistic styles and sensibilities with the action-packed, fun world of superhero comic books. Rokan is part fantasy, part superhero, and all metal.
Oh, dude. Cool. That kind of gave me vibes from the Max. If you're familiar with it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely am familiar with the Max. Yeah, I see. I was really attracted. I read the Max. A friend of mine owns the whole series, and he lent it to me. I was
Really?
supremely attracted to. Yeah, I was supremely attracted to the art by Sam Keith, especially the design of the Max. The first time I read it, I was honestly disappointed by how little action there is and that the story takes this weird turn. Well, these many weird turns. I understand what the story is about now, and I appreciate it a lot better. But uh, but the subject matter in Rokan is definitely more about action and fighting and superhero fun and violence. So 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 yeah, the Max is really cool because not only is it this weird superhero with not entirely correct anatomy as far as human being. Spoilers, there's a reason for that, if you've read the Max, But also I really love the creatures and the environments of the outback, that it doesn't look like real life. And so when I talked to Max about creating this world, we agreed, and we were both on the same page. Like, it's like the outback, but we're always in the outback. There's no real world. We want the feeling to always be surreal for the reader. We want everything to be weird and extraordinary, so that you think anything could happen at any time. Who knows what funny creature is going to be on the next page?
Yeah. So
And Max is really good at drawing his own animals. Go ahead.
So you have a second trailer, it looks like? Was this the teaser?
No, that's an interview, the first one we did. That I put it there in case people wanted more information, then they can watch it and get an idea. So don't play that. That's like an hour long or something.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. And then the first one said something about being in association with another company.
Tier 1 Comics.
Is Tier 1 Comics your company?
Yeah, that's my
Your imprint?
It's not my company. It's my friend. It's my friend Dell's. He has a book out already called The Immortal Asadi. And I'm a big fan of that book and of that character, and I'm really good friends with him. So so we agreed that it would be mutually beneficial for me to be on his print. Because the thing is, like, what I've noticed about Comicsgate, a lot of people make their own company and have their own name for their company, and with just one title, or if they make a different book, but it's only one creator, one company, one creator. And maybe I'm wrong, but that seems silly to me. It makes more sense, at least in my head, that one company should have multiple teams and multiple titles. So that's why I decided to go with him.
Okay. All right. Do you anticipate future? It may be too early to be even discussing this, but
Yes, there's a crossover. I'm already writing it.
okay. You knew where I was going with that. Yeah, so pretty sweet. Let me check on here. So you've got a $3,000 flexible goal. So that tells me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that regardless of whether it funds, you're going to fulfill. You're going to get the book out,
Yes.
no matter what.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
And without getting too detailed, how do you come up with the amount of 3,000? Is it because you have most of the story already done, even if most of it's in your head still? Or and then it's mostly going towards shipping, product, packaging, fulfillment, and of course your artist talent.
Yeah, for the 24 pages that represents this first issue, I'll need more than $3,000 just to pay for the art, just to pay for 24 pages worth of art. So the reality is that I went with that number because I was trying to figure out an amount that was reachable. So I wanted to play. I was playing this game of because I knew I was going to make this book come hell or high water. If I had no backing, I would make this book because I think it'll be an investment that pays dividends. Because once the book exists, and if I can get it in people's hands, I'm supremely confident that they're going to come back for more because they're going to love it so much. But with that being said, I wanted an amount that I thought I could reach. So that's why I went with that amount. Because if I asked for much more than that, I'd run the risk of not reaching it, which I think doesn't look good for the brand. And if I asked for less than that, well, I need more than that. Well, I don't need it, but I would. Well, it will cost me more than that to print and ship this book and make it. But I am going to make it 100% no matter what. And the good thing is once we reach that goal, we can still continue to get more backers and sell more copies. So I'd be happy breaking even, and I'm willing to even take a bit of a financial hit to get the book made and shipped.
You're doing pretty decently so far. You're making quite a bit of progress.
Yeah.
For a first-time campaign, yeah, most creators are lucky if they hit 2,000 to 3,000. Some don't even make it that far.
Yeah, I'm really pleased, especially. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm really pleased, especially considering the massive blunder that we made by not networking very much and not making. Well, we didn't make an email list for starters. That was incredibly stupid. So we didn't have anyone anticipating it, and we didn't know anyone else in Comicsgate hardly. I know just a couple of people. I did. Now I know a lot of people. But so we just naively thought like, well, the art looks good and the pitch is good, so this will work, right? That's all you need. Click. So that was dumb. But it looks like we're gonna get through by the skin of our teeth anyway, and now we know the right way to launch. now we have a good network of other Comicsgate creators. So now we know the way to do it.
All right. I'm doing some more promo real quick. If you haven't yet backed this, be sure and do so. Greatly appreciate it. Back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times, lady. If you've already
3 times a lady.
If you haven't had a chance to, or if you don't have the means to at this time, please consider sharing it all over your social media. Every little bit helps to get more eyeballs on it. Let's see. So, whoopsie. That was weird. Kind of flickering screen there. So it says, wow, 90 backers. That's pretty good. 21 days left. All right. So you're familiar with Comicsgate and you've seen a number of projects, I'm sure. As you may have gathered or gleaned, a lot of projects are kind of following this model where you have 2 30-day rounds of funding and then you go in demand, especially if you're a new creator on the scene. Is that more or less what you did here? Or did you go with the other route where you do like
what's the other route?
Well, some people do like a full 60-day round of funding and then they go in demand. And then there are other people who do 30-day round of funding, and then they do maybe a 10 to 14-day second round of funding before they go in demand.
Well, I don't know exactly how to determine or differentiate one round from another, but I've just been doing. I've been just lucky enough that by the time the streams I've been invited on have all come to fruition, I've gotten invitations to be on others. So really, I've always relied on the kindness of strangers. Really, has been my motto here, and I've been lucky because, yeah, as you said, for this being the first campaign, it's doing quite well, and it's right on track, and we're looking like we'll probably get those few $100s we need before this last couple of weeks are over. I know I don't want to get cocky because who knows, maybe not,
right.
But I don't know as far as what each round consists of. Maybe there's more things and more techniques I need to learn, but all I've really done is share on my social media and go on as many podcasts as I can.
So with 21 days left, how did you design your campaign to run in terms of the funding stage?
Well, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I don't really have a very organized campaign. I just go on people's podcasts and hope for the best.
What I mean is, when you set up the Indiegogo and went live, it asked you how many days. I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff because I haven't launched my own campaign yet, but there's a portion in there where you decide how many days
I see what you mean.
want to do.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, the maximum. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were done. Sorry. The maximum is 60 days. That's all. So that was easy. I just asked for 60 days because it's the maximum.
Okay. All right.
Simple as that.
And do you already plan on going in demand, or are you? I hope you're not thinking about cutting it off at 60 days and closing the.
Oh no. We'll definitely go in. We'll definitely go in demand, because I think this is a book that a lot of people are going to want, but it's just a matter of letting it. What am I trying to say here? It's a matter of word of mouth, of people spreading the word, and I especially think that once the books are printed and the first batch is shipped out, I think that's going to do massive things for the book, because when people can see it and show it to each other, that's going to get a lot more people interested. So yeah, I'm definitely anticipating that the majority of sales come during the in-demand phase.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you mentioned that you did a 60-day round of funding, which makes sense. So you're just roughly over a month of funding. And the reason I was like differentiating between different techniques is like what a lot of campaigns are doing to varying degrees of success is like they'll say, all right, my campaign is going to run 30 days funding. So you do the email list, of course. You build up interest, you get on streams, you promote, and then you get to going live. And if you're a new creator, if possible, you go on one of the bigger channels that has an audience, and you show the project and do your best to get as much funding as possible. There's a spike of interest there. Then as you go throughout the month, ideally you maintain the energy of it, but inevitably it tends to kind of taper downward, because there's just so many campaigns to keep track of, and everyone's interested in backing as many as they can. And then towards the end of the 30 days, interest spikes up again, because they're getting close. You're getting close to ending the first 30 days, but then you go, oh, I'm going to extend for another 30 of funding. So then there's that extra jump, an extra boost over there, and then it kind of tapers down again. And then towards the end of the second 30, it shoots up again from generating interest. And then there's that FOMO, fear of missing out, as you conclude the second round of funding, until you kick in demand. And of course, as you get closer and closer, you definitely want to double check your settings, make sure you're slated to go in demand, so there's no hiccup and your campaign doesn't accidentally fully close down when you don't want it to. And then in the in-demand phase, around that time, you should be around the point at which you're fulfilling to your backers, and then you'll usually experience another spike of interest as your product gets fulfilled, your campaign gets fulfilled, people start receiving the books, getting in their hands, they start doing PO box opening streams saying they got it, and then some of them will even post reviews of your book. And then once they see, especially you fulfilling as a new creator, then they develop more trust that you're going to, you can release the product instead of it being like a pipe dream. And then that can lead to through the in-demand phase. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I definitely expect that to be the case. I think we'll get the most backers during in demand for that reason, because since it's our first project, there might be people that are skeptical, or maybe people that have been burned in the past by projects that never came to fruition. So once the book exists in the real world, in physical form, and people are reviewing it, and people are, like you said, hopefully I can get some PO box opening streams going. I think that will get a lot more people interested. So what I need to figure out right now is the FOMO phase. How do I make people feel like you better jump on this before you run out of time, bro? That's what I need to figure out.
Yeah,
I'm in that phase where I've got 3 weeks left. Go ahead.
I think it may vary depending on the creator and their project, but I think generally speaking, part of it has to do with them knowing there's a clock counting down leading up to the point. Another factor might be getting on the right streams that have good audiences that could get you more eyeballs, and also getting on as many streams as you can to promote, and whenever possible, your artist also doing the same, since it's he's fully invested in it too, in its success. So the more people get to know you guys as creatives, the more passionate backers will become about your project, because they'll see how excited you are for it, and they in turn will become excited for it. And then a final, maybe to a lesser degree, the possible swag you might include in a project. So I mean, we'll go through and see what kinds of cool stuff you've got on your campaign. Understandably, on the first campaign, people don't want to get carried away and get ahead of themselves, and some may just offer the book alone, while others, they'll throw in some extra tchotchkes. And then you've got a section of the backers who don't really even care about the tchotchkes. They're more interested in just the book.
Sure.
So it's kind of like monitoring your campaign, seeing how it's trending, and determining what is getting people's interests.
Thanks a lot for that. There's a lot of really useful information there for me. Yeah, with respect to tchotchkes, because we have that whole metal aesthetic going, we both agree that it'd be really cool to make Rokan t-shirts that look like similar to like band shirts, like heavy metal band t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
We want to do that, but we think we concluded that not for the first campaign.
Okay.
Probably for the second.
That's
because
fair.
nobody knows who Rokan is. It's sort of like trying to sell someone a t-shirt of a band that they don't listen to.
Yeah.
But once they're a fan of the band, then they're gonna want the t-shirt. That's our thinking, anyways.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. I happen to be huge into t-shirts. I love t-shirts, and I try and collect Comicsgate t-shirts whenever I get a chance. Assuming I like the design enough, of course, because you got to be willing to wear it, right? And
right.
So it's perfectly reasonable to save it for a following campaign. Let's see here. So Rokan is an exciting new ongoing bi-monthly comic book series from creators Ben Jackson and Max Hedgeshroom. The first issue explores the origin story of Rokan in 24 hand-painted full-color pages. The society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting by fools. Oh man, I've heard that quote before. That's a very poignant and meaningful quote. Although I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's Thucydides.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Thucydides. Very nice. Yeah, this makes me think. This work makes me think back to Heavy Metal magazine. That style.
Yep. That's what we're going for.
Thucydides' words serve as the perfect epigram To communicate the theme and intent behind the story of Rokan, picture a society based in part on the rivalry between Athens and Sparta, but reimagined in perfect collaborative harmony. The older brothers devote their time and lives to magical, religious revelations, while the younger brothers, a corresponding cast of elite warriors and austere manual laborers, protect them and safeguard their discoveries. Oh man, you can tell a lot of work was put into this. That's nice.
Oh yeah.
That is nice. In such a world, one man finds himself torn between these two roles, rejected by both and unwilling to turn his back on either. Rokan must combine his skills as a warrior with his wizardry insight to overcome obstacles in his struggle for survival and conquest. Now that's a cool looking sword. Yeah, I like this
That
piece.
image, that's my favorite piece so far, by far.
Yeah, it's quite nice. This character in the middle, the one who reminds me a little bit, vaguely bit, a bit of Orko from Masters of the Universe, only because of the
Yep.
hat.
Absolutely.
It kind of
Orko from Masters of the Universe, Vivi from Final Fantasy. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, right on. Yeah.
So the idea is to go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that it looks sort of like a type of character I might draw myself. Pretty cool. You were saying?
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, Ralph Bakshi too. You know, his wizards that, yeah. So that was what I wanted to do, and it was such a crazy idea, but I really think it worked because, you know, combine Orko with He-Man himself. You know, combine these zany, funny wizards and mages with their big hats and their non-threatening appearance. But what if you took that character and did a reverse chibi on him and made him a badass, tough guy with big muscles? So that's kind of the thought process behind the creation of Rokan. Because following the story, isn't that cool? I love it. I love it. Because the idea of following the story is, you know, he's a wizard and he's exiled and he learns how to fight. So he becomes a really tough badass, but he never forgets, you know, how to be a wizard. So he can do both.
Sweet.
Like an overpowered Dungeons and Dragons character that's a wizard and a fighter at the same time.
Ah. Man. Check that out. In such a world, one man finds himself torn between the two roles. Oh, I read that one. Creative team Ben Jackson and Max Hedstrom are combining the titanic fun of comic book superhero fights with a mesmerizing fantasy landscape full of creatures, cultures, and mythologies reminiscent of creators such as Simon Bisley, Frank Frazetta, and Greg Staples. Oh man, it's so cool. I love the turtle. Talk about detail.
Yeah. Yeah, Max spent a lot of time on that piece.
This reminds me of something that would be trippy and full blown out poster. Something you could get high to. From the grittiest heavy metal magazine aficionado to the most diligent dungeon master, Rokan is sure to please fantasy fans and superhero comic book fanatics alike. Oh, damn. You got the dead guy's head. Follow Rokan as he discovers and hones his powers, leaving the felled bodies of monsters and enemies in his wake. Oh, hell yeah. You got a variant covered by Preston Acevedo.
Yeah, how lucky is that, huh?
Excellent
Yeah,
choice.
Preston was the first stream that we went on. He was the first guy to really believe in this project and want to get involved with us. So we're really grateful to him for that cover that he did for us. I love it. I think it's mesmerizing. The two versions of Rokan, the before and after.
Yeah.
Rokan as a young magician, and then the grizzled, hardened Rokan after he's been through the whole origin.
Yeah, that's really nice. Preston does such great work. Rokan is part fantasy, part superhero, and all metal. Huh.
So those are the latest pages that Max has been working on. The problem is I told him to finish all the pencils for all the pages before he does any more paint. So that'll help him done faster. But at the same time, this particular page is hard to make out without the colors, because we're doing a really. Go ahead.
I was just going to comment that, at least the way I'm seeing it, the bottom is like a landscape, a silhouette of two characters crossing the lands, the mysterious lands with perhaps the sun in the background, unless it's the moon, I don't know. And then there looks to be some sort of creature that resembles a squid above ground.
Yeah.
They're going on a trek, but then this top portion makes me think of the planet and the continents on that planet, but kind of like two images kind of melding together, if you will.
That's correct. Yeah, you pretty much got it. There's one more thing though, which isn't apparent yet, but will be once the colors are present, which is that so okay, with the captions, this is more clear, obviously as well. So I should letter this page probably sooner than later. But what the land that they are traversing used to be underwater, and so I'm showing two different periods of time at the same time. So they're in a bubble in the present day, and then outside of that bubble is a depiction of what that same territory looked like hundreds of years ago, before the ocean receded.
Yeah,
so that's why there are those creatures.
Now I'm catching the sea life, like this fish, maybe some sea anemones, some corals.
Exactly. Yeah.
Up in the foreground. Oh man, that's nice. I like that idea.
Yeah, I can't. I think I'm gonna tell him to paint that. I know I told you not to paint anything until you finished all the pencils, but I'm dying to see this page painted. So that effect of the two different periods of time is more powerful. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I'd be curious as to how it's going to turn out. Because, I mean, if I tasked myself to do this, I don't know how I'd be able to pull it off myself. But, you know.
So imagine imagine a circle. I mean, you can kind of see the shape of a not a semicircle, but a more or less an imperfect circle around them as a
Mhm.
bubble.
Yeah.
And then all the rest outside of that bubble would be blue and underwater, and then bleeding into
Oh,
the blue of the above panel, which is the surrounding water around the peninsula. And inside that bubble, it would be the orange, scorching colors of the desert. So
yeah.
it'll be clear by then that it's two different environments. And
Ooh,
from the
cool.
captions, it'll be abundantly clear that the idea is two different periods in time.
Nice. Some more interiors. Ooh, wow, look at that. Close-ups of insects, creatures. Nice.
So I like that page. I like that page a lot too because it just tells a story even without the captions. You can see they arrive at the oasis and there's the bug, and then you see the close-ups of the faces, their reactions, how they feel finally arriving there, and then of course they're eating the bug in the last panel, the same bug that was there waiting for them. He didn't know he was going to be their dinner, but he ended up being their dinner.
Holy moly. Good gracious. I didn't realize he was that big, that creature, that insect. All right, so I need some help here. How do you read this? 1 TC, 1 tonic, 1...
T1C, Tier 1 Comics. So my friend who created this company is a veteran. He's Special Forces. So Tier 1, he explained to me, is like the code name for the most elite group of Special
Oh,
Forces. And so that's kind of the play on words or the reference that he's making, asserting
okay.
that ours are the best,
Oh, all right.
basically.
The best of the best. Awesome. Yeah, definitely, when you get a chance, thank him on my behalf for his service.
Yes, sir.
So let's check out these tiers here. Before that, everybody check out this campaign, Rokan. It's 79% funded. We've just got a little ways to go before we hit 3,000 USD. And that's
About
what?
$600 we need. A little more than $600.
Yep, a little more than 600. I think you are going to get there.
I think so.
This definitely has legs. Back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady. If you're unable to at this time, definitely share it out on your social media. It can always help to get more eyeballs on it. So we've got the perks. I always appreciate when creators have a featured tier. Featured tiers are typically not necessarily the cheapest tier. It's not necessarily the most expensive tier. It's usually somewhere in between. And it usually involves getting the book and one or more tchotchkes, if you will. Bonus items that help you experience the product you're consuming. And it's also kind of like a best bang for your buck kind of thing. This one here is an everything plus an OG.
We don't have that many tchotchkes. don't have that many shots yet. I'm developing some mechanics animation, but we're gonna make those a stretch goal. So as long as we get the money we need to make those, I want to send them to everyone. So instead of having Richard, Max's idea, he has this. Max is unorthodox, as unorthodox of an artist as I am unorthodox as a writer. So Max's technique is that he warms up before he draws, which I've never heard of anyone doing that. But he'll actually draw something that doesn't necessarily have to do with the page that he's intending to draw, just as a warm up, just to get his get in the zone, as it were, and then he'll get to actually working on the project at hand. And so he has some sketches, just of monsters, people, whatever he likes to draw, and he's willing to part with those and sign them as perks. So you can get a little mini drawing or a little mini painted drawing signed by the artist. That's our featured perk.
Nice. So here you get everything you have to offer, plus your own one-of-a-kind signed sketch by Max Hedstrom. You get 2 copies of Rokan issue number 1, a standard physical comic book. Yeah, hold on. All right, so you get the digital copy. You get 2 copies of the physical book, huh?
So,
yeah. All right, so you get the standard cover.
Yeah, so you get the copy with the standard cover, and you get the variant cover.
Okay, all right. Then you get the signed print. And what are the dimensions of the print?
Oh man, I should have them written down. I always forget. I think they're A4.
Okay. You might mention either.
What is that, like a little bit more? Tell me.
I don't remember. I know there are several sizes commonly used in the EU, like A3, A4.
I think it
A5.
says. I think it says in the description of the other perk.
Okay, all right.
But I'll definitely make a note of that, to first of all to memorize that information, and also to update the other perks with it.
And I don't know if it'll let you, since Indiegogo is kind of strange, where if there's at least one person.
Oh yeah, it won't let me update it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of you're very restricted.
Yeah.
In terms of what you can update. And so what I was thinking, you might consider adding it somewhere in the story section towards the bottom, or bottom third, or in the updates tab. As one of your updates and announcements, so that it's specified.
Wait, what was the first thing you said? Do an update or do what?
In the story section, you see how you have these different tabs: story, FAQ, updates.
Yeah.
Comment. Well, I guess you could technically put in the FAQ if you wanted, but I think most people.
Maybe I should do that. Yeah.
I think most people read story and updates. I don't know how many people actually read the FAQ section. I don't see it used very much.
Yeah.
But
you're right about that, huh? But yeah, I could put it in the story.
Yeah, if you put it in the story,
Like at the bottom, do you think?
You don't want to make it too much long. Oh, actually, that was pretty decent. Possibly like after the interiors, you might mention if you have an image of the finished print, then you can include that, and you could say, for example, size A4, and then you might put the
dimensions,
decimal equivalent, what we use in the state, inches in the States.
Right.
So that you have both the UK size and the US equivalent. maybe one of them in parentheses.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
In fact, you might want to put it in both places, there as well as in updates. Because with any campaign, it probably is a good idea. I think an update every 2 weeks is sufficient. Some update you every week, your preference, but I think the bare minimum is once a month. I think ideally every other week is pretty good to keep your backers in the loop on your progress.
Yep.
Then you get the original signed sketch by Max Hedstrom. How big is this? What are the dimensions of the sketch?
You know what? Those depend, because that's kind of a grab bag of his from his drawing room. His warm up experimental free drawing weirdness. So I don't even think those are all the same size. Some of them are painted, some of them are just drawn. So
So all the original.
I thought about having him post them all, scan them all, and post them all. I'm still not sure if it's a good idea or not, but it seems like a hassle to keep track of it. But then the problem is, like, how do we get people to choose which one they want? And
well, you either do it randomly, you just anyone who backs this tier, you just throw in a random one.
Yeah.
I presume you plan on fulfilling yourself. You're not going to hire a company to handle fulfillment.
Yeah, I'm going to fulfill myself. Dell has already fulfilled his book, so he knows what that entails. So I feel confident with his a little bit of his supervision. I'll be able to do it without a hitch.
So you're probably going to arrange Max to mail you all the sketches signed, so you have them for fulfillment. You can make it as easy as just throwing in a random one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
And that'll save a lot of trouble and stress and stuff like that. And optionally, you might consider the following. In updates, you could do a post where you discuss the signed sketches. And if Max is willing, he could take the collection of OG signed sketches that he'd consider mailing you to fulfill with, and like lay them out kind of like a collage.
That's an awesome idea.
5 or 6 or 8, just on the floor or on a clear white table or some clear background. And it doesn't, they can be overlapping a little. They could be, they don't have to be like totally flush up against each other, but kind of like you were to throw a bunch of playing cards on the table loosely. And then
I know what you mean.
Somewhere in the copy, say something to the effect, here are some of the sketches you'll have a chance of getting on the featured perk tier. Everyone is original, unique, one of a kind. The dimensions of the piece will vary. They will be randomly inserted into your, into backers packages, something like that.
Right. Just give them all the information, yeah, and make it look good. With dude, that collage, like cards scattered on a table, that's an awesome idea. I think that will look terrific, and I could use the same photo, like either a portion of it or a scaled down as the as the perk image, which we're needing desperately to have one.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, what I tend to avoid recommending is, well, let's see. You know, a part of me gets paranoid. Like if you put straight out high res quality images of, I don't even know if it'll accept high res, but if you were to put out high quality images of all the different OG sketches, then a part of me is afraid that some people out there might abuse it.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to do
that. I just mean I mean that photo that you suggested of the collage.
Yeah.
Of all of them. I mean to use that photo as an update, like you suggested, which is an awesome idea, and also use that same photo as the perk image.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's handy when the thumbnail basically shows you an image of all the things that the tier contains. Yeah. Let's see. So next one is digital copy of Rokan, issue number 1. Digital. Yeah, there's going to be a certain amount of backers that are going to be interested in and prefer a digital copy. Usually involves avoiding shipping costs, which is totally understandable, especially if it's an international backer.
Yep. Yeah, we've sold a lot of those already.
Yeah. Then you got the standard physical comic book. Man, that's a steal, $10. Well, it is 24 pages, so that's part of it. Yeah, it's a good price.
Yeah, I think it's a good price. I think it's about right. Because on the one hand, the art is phenomenal, but at the same time, it's only 24 pages, so can't charge too much for a 24-page floppy.
Right. And then you've got the Preston Acevedo variant cover, which is real nice. That one's going for $15 a copy. And then you've got a signed copy of the original cover. Cool. And what do we have here? Signed copy with a print poster. All right, so I'm going to have to look in here real quick. So it says standard cover art by Max Headroom. This one says
so there are 4 different prints that you can choose from.
Oh,
one is that you and I were admiring before, with the kind of style collage of characters and faces. That one's my favorite. That's option A. Then option B is that Rokan, where Rokan is holding the decapitated head of an enemy. That's been the main. That's been the primary promotional image that we've been using for the campaign. Then option C is the variant. Yeah, it's hard to see on the small image, but you know, I tried to make it clear A, B, C, D, which one was which. And then option C, that's your Preston variant cover. And then option D is the Skull Crush poster, which Max hasn't finished painting yet, but that's the image of Rokan crushing a skull in his hand, and with this boot over top of some more skulls. I just really like that image, and I thought it'd make a good print, and I wanted to give options and see which ones were more popular.
Nice. All right. For whatever reason, it must be the restrictions of the Indiegogo upload, but some of it is cropped. Excuse me. You can barely make out the A or the C.
Yeah, I see that now.
And the writing
I
is
should
really,
I should fix that. Well, the thing I remember now, I didn't fix it because you can't update once something is claimed. But then I had to clone all of these perks anyway because I had to change something to do with the shipping. So for that reason, since this is a clone, it still doesn't have any backers technically.
right.
So I'll go in a moment and change that image so it looks a little better.
I'm wondering if it would improve matters or not if you got rid of the letters and just got rid of the arrows and increase the font size of the descriptions, the captions.
I see what you mean. So you can see the caption better.
Yeah. I tend to be a stickler because I wear glasses and I'm nearsighted. And things are often hard to read. So anything that makes things easier to read, I'm a big fan of. But you're right. As long as there's no claimed, as long as there are no backers who have claimed a tier, you can edit it. Yes, you have more flexibility in terms of editing.
So I'm realizing now I can still do that. So that's good.
And then with this one, the variant cover,
and it's not because nobody's claimed. It's not because no one's claimed that perk. It's because I had to clone it to change the shipping information. So most of the backers are invisible because they're on previous versions of the perks.
Yeah, you just have to keep track of it behind the scenes from an administrator standpoint.
Yep.
So those backers get their fulfillment too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then on this one, let me see how this is laid out. Okay. 120. This might be a nothing burger, but since it says 124-page comic, another way you could have done it is the word one spelled out. And then
okay.
20,
oh, yeah, because it looks like 124. Yeah. No, yeah, that's worth changing while I still can.
And then 24-page. If I'm not mistaken, grammatically, there's supposed to be a hyphen, but, between 24 and page. But that's not too big.
You're correct, yeah. Yeah, the thing is, it's actually even better if you spell out 24, but you only have so many characters for the description. But you're right, there should be a hyphen there. I'll add it.
I think the general rule is any number under 10 or under 15, you spell out, and then anything beyond like 15 or something, like 15, you use a numeral, something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, cool. No, I appreciate knowing that. Thank you.
I mean, you'll have to double check me because I don't remember where the cutoff was. I want to say like 15.
Hey, I didn't even know there was a cutoff. So
it might be lower.
Thanks for telling me.
Like, it might even be. You study literature. Did you ever have to pick up the book Strunk in White?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Maybe that was more for like general English courses, but it was like something that was designed to be like a little handbook, a guide for writing essentials. And I think it was in that I found it.
I see. I don't remember the name of the equivalent that I had to use, but I don't. If I ever learned that, I forgot it. So, but it's something worth knowing.
Yeah, it was called something like, at least the one I studied from, Strunk and White's Writing Essentials, something like that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it rings a bell. I think I had a different book, but definitely rings a bell.
and let me see. I would consider removing the letters.
You don't like that layout?
No, only because it makes me think that when I click on the perk to expand it, that it's going to break down A, B, C, D. A equals this, B equals this, C equals this, D equals this.
Well, it should, and it can, and it will soon.
All right. Well, and the other thing is, it covers up some of the graphics, and the graphics look so pretty and everything that
right.
It covers like about a quarter of the entire image, or a third of it. So maybe if the boxes were narrower, so it just was enough to fit the letter, and maybe the letter was in the upper left corner, for example. Just stuff to play around
That's
with.
a good idea. Yeah. So the letter doesn't cover up as much.
And then you get let's see.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm realizing just now that I can still change these, because since I had to clone them all for the shipping issues, information issues, I had forgotten that I could still update these, because I had resigned myself to leaving them as they were, since you couldn't change them once they were claimed. But now I'm realizing and getting really excited about the fact that I still can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I should actually get to work on that.
Let me see.
Right away.
Variant cover Preston plus print. So you get that. This is sign print, a choice of 4. Okay. Oh, all right. I was just trying to think of other ideas on how to reflect that. So you see how it's the Preston's variant cover book?
Yeah.
This is just an idea. I might have formatted it so that gets the left side, the left half of the image. And because that's the key part of this perk, right? But then you get 4 prints. So this is the wrong size. This is the wrong size.
Yeah, people read left to right.
Yeah. And as I'm saying, this is the wrong size. But if you took like the 4 prints and like feathered them, shoot. Kind of like you would cards, and then
I see what you mean.
Showing some more, that'll take up the right side of the image, or like that.
Yeah.
That. Just so you can make out what it is that you're sharing. Just a couple, and that way it emphasizes. That way it emphasizes that the focus is on the Preston Acevedo variant cover, and then the thing you get with it is one of these 4 prints to choose from. Does that make sense?
Totally get what you're saying. Absolutely.
Next one of each plus digital. Okay, does this give you 2 books total then? 2 physical copies? 1 signed copy of Rokan issue 1 comic book with standard cover. 1 signed copy with variant cover
Yeah.
by President. Ooh, nice. Then you get the digital comic book. If shipped to USA or the rest of the world, will include signature by writer Ben Jackson. Nice. If shipped to the UK or European Union, will include signature by artist Max Ventru. Is Max also going to partake in fulfillment? Like, are you going to like get them printed, split half the order to you in the States, and then half the order to Max in the UK?
Yeah, well, not necessarily half. It'll depend on how many backers we have in North America versus how many we have in Europe. We are going to do simultaneous fulfillment and shipping from both not destinations. What's the word for points of origin? Shipping from both of our points of origin.
Okay. That overall will probably save a lot on shipping costs. It's definitely a good thing to partner with someone in another country so that they can ship at local rates instead of international rates. Let's see here.
Exactly. That's the thing we figured out. Like go ahead.
I was just going to add it's an interesting thing that will also contribute to adding further value in that books that are shipped to the USA are going to have your signature but not Max's, while those shipped to UK and EU will include Max's but not yours. So that I think is going to long term add further value and rarity and scarcity to this run of books, because some of them will just have your signature and others will just have his,
and some of them will just have his. I think some people are gonna when I think there's gonna be some very eccentric collector who will want both.
Yeah, I would think so. I always try to get several variant covers when I can. Let me see. Oh yeah, and you get the digital comic as well. Everything plus digital. Why not get everything? With our featured package, you get 1 signed standard cover, 1 variant cover by Preston, 1 signed print, choice of 4 options, 1 digital copy. Standard books and prints will have artist signature if shipped to UK or Europe, author signatures if shipped to USA or rest of the world. Well, that's not quite everything, is it? Because you're only getting 1 of 4 of the prints. But there may be another tier following that does include everything. Curiosity here.
I mean, the thing is that everyone's getting 1 print, your choice of print, and then we'll throw in extra prints. The ones that we don't sell will give priority to the everything backers. But it didn't occur to me that anyone would want all the prints. But maybe that was silly of me. Maybe they do.
Well, I tend to get a lot. Maybe that's just me, but there are people out there, including myself, who, want like complete sets when we can afford them. Let's see here. Now, here's a question.
I see what you mean.
Why no thumbnail?
So it's basically just go incrementing by $5 values what you get. So for digital, you get for 5 you get the digital, for 10 you get the physical variant, and then we go standard with print, Preston version with print, then both copies without a print, then both copies with the print, and then both copies with the print and the original sketch. So that's basically how it works.
I get all that. I was just curious as to why why all the other tiers have a thumbnail image except this one.
I don't know what image to put for that one.
Oh, okay. All right.
I might get rid of it actually, since I did the new everything package with the sketch.
Ah.
I might just hide that perk.
Yeah, there's one claim. All right, then we've got the Max OG painting.
Yeah, I think I will hide that.
Head soak. Oh, it's that one. Okay. Wow. Check that out. This is your chance to own an original page from the comic book, nicknamed Head Soak by the creative team. Page 4 is a beautiful 29.7 centimeters. I know I'm being nitpicky, but you could add a space after centimeters.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah, you can add a space after centimeters,
Okay.
so it's like CMX. So it doesn't look like a typo or misspelling.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
I mean, and then a space before centimeters, so it matches the 42 centimeters. You know, just a couple extra spaces.
Okay.
One before and after centimeters.
No, you're right. That helps me.
Traditionally hand
I
painted
love it.
acrylic.
I like how.
Max really had. Yeah, I mean, me too. Me too. I mean, everything I'm saying is an effort to be of help, and you know, I when I give suggestions, I'm not trying to knock people. You might say I'm doing it out of love.
No, absolutely. You are helping, because I feel it as a loving gesture, and I appreciate it. Because honestly, like it's gonna make it look more professional, and it's gonna be easier to read by just adding those couple of centimeters. I would be a fool not to accept help. So thanks for it, actually.
Oh, no problem. Max really had fun with this one. The underwater panel jumps right off the page. It also features mesmerizing desert panels and incoming skull road marker. So you get the digital copy of Rokan, you get the standard physical comic book, and you get the OG painting. Do you know off the top of your head what this comes out to in inches? I'm sorry?
I don't. Sorry. I don't know, but it's pretty. It's big money. It's bigger than what it'll be in the on the page. It's like closer to a magazine cover, like a big Time magazine.
So, do you think it's fair to say it's over?
But yeah, let me go ahead. No, I don't think it's quite that big. I'm gonna put the inches as well. I'll do that in a minute.
Well, that would be handy, especially for people like me who are too lazy to convert. Sometimes I'll
You're
take
right.
the time.
You're right. It
Sometimes
makes sense to have both.
Sometimes I'll take the time to whip out a converter, but I'm usually too lazy to.
You're
Welcome out
right.
of
I can't assume people are going to do that, so why not do it for them?
Good to have you, Matanui. It's all good. And you can always watch on a replay if you want to do. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the head soaked here.
Yeah, the first half hour or so was a really interesting conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all of it's been an interesting conversation, but the first half hour was especially fun.
Cool. Glad you had fun.
I'm thinking, man, it's later than I thought.
Oh, do you have to get going?
We've been going for almost 2.5 hours. Well, I hate to do this, but I want to make sure I have time to do those updates because I'm going on Michael Bancroft's show in a little while here, so I want to make sure I have time to do that. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would love to shoot the shit with you all night long. Believe me.
It's all good. Let me just excuse me, wrap this up real quick. We conclude with the Preston Acevedo OG painted art. That's going to be very popular. That's a good price for Preston's work too. Wow. Traditionally hand painted. Oh, is that the same dimensions? 27.8 by 46? Oh, no, not quite. It's narrower but taller.
Close.
40. Yeah, they're very
exactly.
close. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Plus a variant cover by Rokan #1 and digital comic book. Sweet. Yeah, that's a good price for a Preston piece. And one of my favorite things about campaigns
maybe I should increase it. You think I should raise it? You think I should raise that price?
As far as I understand, Preston usually works with the creator and comes up with a price. I mean, wasn't he the one who suggested?
Well, the thing is that
this one.
Well, the thing is that he does that with other creators because I assume they're sharing the payment for it. But in our case, we own that painting outright because we traded him for it. Max made a piece for him, and he made a piece for us. So it didn't cost us a cent. It just cost Max a little bit of effort of work.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good price. I really don't know how much it'll go for. I have seen.
I'm trying to remember. I think was it $700 or $800 that Phil from Zaid was doing his. I'll have a look in a moment.
Yeah,
anyways,
I would also have to look. I mean, sometimes you'll see Preston's pieces go for around $300 to $350, and usually around that range they get scooped up really, really fast. I don't know if you have to go quite that low, but at the same time, there's a piece that didn't sell for $1,000, but it's a freaking amazing one, and everybody loved it. But it was going for like $2,000. Actually, it might have been $3,000.
Yeah, I mean, we
like $2,500. So
we sold the turtle painting for $400. So yeah. I think I'm going to leave it at $600. You know, that's about the range that we seem to be able to reach.
I mean, that's pretty.
Because the thing is, like, once you sell it, you'll wish you had charged more. But the thing is, if you charge more, you might not sell it. So I'll probably just leave it as is.
At the same time, the benefit of not selling it is you keep it for yourself.
And it is a pretty sweet painting. I do love it.
Exactly. And one of my favorite parts
I need those 3 Gs.
Yeah, there you go. One of my favorite parts about campaigns
In
is
fact,
what was that?
if I sold that painting, that I would be fulfilled right now.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Someone watching your stream, hypothetically, if someone watching right now were to grab that perk, hypothetically, right now, we would reach fulfillment right now.
Oh, well, yeah.
Just saying. just throwing that out there.
Wait a minute. Hold on. No. Wait. Is that right? 6.
I just refreshed it on my browser, and it's 240. I just refreshed it on mine, and it's 400. It's up to 400.
Oh, holy cow! Oh, nice. All right.
Yep.
I thought we were still.
Yeah, we got at least one backer.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Thanks for supporting this campaign.
Whoever that was, thank you so much.
Yeah, you hit.
Now
80%.
just buy that painting, and it'll be a wrap.
But then even after the painting gets sold, you gotta keep it going because the more you get now, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
And better position you'll be in.
Oh, for sure. No, we'll keep it going. I just want to hit that. Sorry, I just want to hit that benchmark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not only do you want to hit the funding goal, but you want to exceed it. So not only do you eventually get yourself in the black, but so that you start building up some reserves so that you can work on your next project, the next book in the line. And then
we'll get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like one of the things I like about campaigns is seeing the tiers that sold out. So I more or less get to see what I missed out on. It's also kind of a reminder that of what not to drag your heels on and what to look forward to in a future campaign.
Exactly.
So that's space
exactly. I like having that there as a reminder. So
that space troll piece is nice. Yeah.
Can't have it.
I know.
But you can have one of the other pieces.
True. I did want to ask real quick. So you're going to be on Mike Bancroft's tonight, which is awesome. That's a good channel. What other streams have you done?
Yeah. He does a cool show. I've done Red Valkyrie. I did Preston's. I did Critical Blast and Running Roast. Let's see. What else? Others. Those are the ones that I can think of.
Be sure and go on Commie Mark, Charlie's London.
Global Frequency.
Okay, all right.
I did that one too.
Raging Golden Eagle. Pete Samedi, who does Monday evenings, I think.
Haven't done.
Now, bear in mind, some of these people I'm mentioning.
Oh, the open mic, yeah. I keep meaning to and can't. But I'll do a week from today. I'll do Pete Samedi for sure. Yeah,
whenever you you'll notice that some channels are like the opposite of what I do. As you've experienced firsthand, I try to do deep dives and I go long, whereas on a lot of these other ones, they will often have several creators all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And you take turns and you have shorter segments.
Right. So it's just your pitch. Yeah.
So be prepared, polish your pitch, and be comfortable and prepared if you want to play your video. Have your page up in the back room and ready to play with audio shared. So at a given moment, you could play your trailer. Yeah, so those are some
That's
of
good
the
advice.
those are some of the great channels. I would also add, let's see, Rage Golden Eagle, John Malin, Don Chin. He's from Parody Press. He does all the funny
Oh,
parody things.
Beer.
Oh, was it? Oh yeah, Beard Zerker. Yep.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are a number of a number of streamers I would highly recommend going on. Just reach out to them. Oh, and when she does her effort shows, Piper, aka FizzGiggity, she'll often let you promo, show your product for a little bit. But if you need any other ideas for channels to reach out to, let me know. DM me. So yeah. Everybody, be sure and back this campaign.
Okay, I'll do that.
Back at 3 times a lady. If you haven't had
Back at 3 times a lady.
And if you're unable to at this time, please consider sharing this on social media. Share the channel, share the link to the campaign, all that good stuff, and share this stream as well. I'm giving you the floor, Ben. Go ahead and share with the world how you can be found on social media.
Right. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Rokan, the score in the Instagram. There's no space in the Twitter one. So yeah, find me on Instagram and Twitter. I do podcasts Sundays with some friends of mine called the Indie Alliance of Independent Comic. I'm the only guy there that's Comicsgate, but the rest of them are pretty cool, anyways. So that's it. Thanks a lot, and once, twice, 3 times a lady. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys the next time.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. Greatly appreciate your coming on the show. You're welcome to come on in the future as well. You all know how you can reach me. YouTube, me,
Thank you.
Facebook, WyzGyz Entertainment, on Twitter at WyzGyz Tweets, Twitch at WyzGyz Twitches, Instagram, TikTok, and soon to be more. Please like, comment, subscribe. Mark the bell for notifications so you don't miss a stream. Drop some comments down below. Let us know what you're most excited about and looking forward to in Rokan. And back it if you can. Thanks to everyone in chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks to everyone who watches this on replay. And thanks to our very special guest, Ben. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you, man. I had a great time. Great conversation.
All right. And have a good time on the Craft Show. Take it easy, y'all. See you on the next stream.
Thanks, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Bye.
Final guest.
Yeah, I hate to just.
The only
I hate
person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sameti. The YouTube channel. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.